It's a song called Me and Jesus Having a Beer. It was just one of those nights I was driving around. Somehow I ended up on the other side of town. I pulled into a church parking lot, the only soul there left to be found. The sign said, "Come as you are, you're always welcome here." So I parked under the light and I opened another beer. I was just sitting there reading the label, and I heard a familiar voice in my ear. He said, "Son, I'm glad to see you back. I hope you brought enough for two." I offered him a cold one. He said, "I don't mind if I do." That's all right. Here's to a pretty night. We talked all about the broken pieces of my life, my 5 minutes of fame, about all my ex-wives. I got over them, but talking about the kids must have plucked out my eye. I put on my sunglasses and blamed it on the light. Truth is, I guess I didn't want him to see me cry. We were just sitting there in the car, pride. Here's to the salt in your eye, son, in your sordid past. But you can take it from me, sometimes we all end up on our ass, and it'll be alright. It'll be alright. That old church lit up like a Victrola jukebox, and I heard music inside. When I woke up, all my empty cans were gone. I felt rested. Been a while since I slept that long. I had this crazy idea in my head. A song for a song. A song about me and Jesus having a beer, just the two of us in a '98 Cavalier. We were navigating through times that weren't quite so clear. Sometimes you need a father, but sometimes you need a friend. Take that advice from me, that you can make it up to them, and it'll be alright. Here's to pretty night. If you have any more questions, son, just stop by anytime. Anytime, day or night. Oh, it'll be all right.
I've had it worse before. I've had it far worse than this, 'cause I've always wanted more, more of everything I can't resist. Oh, more of everything I can't resist. And on my darkest night, I can still hear your voice. If this is my demise, at least I can say I had a choice. At least I can say I had a choice. Whoa, now I'm wishing I went a different way, and I'm missing things she used to say, reminiscing every single day while I'm listening to the songs we used to play. Listening to the songs we used to play. I'm fading to the darkest shade of gray. Darkest shade.
This is kind of a ghost story song. It's called Badland. It's all about when you, just because you build a house on, just because you build a new house on land that's got history, doesn't mean that house is going to be clean. I didn't want her to marry him, a widower, dark eyes. In the wedlock he would bring with him an older boy that never cried. My mama favored some abandoned land that Papa left in his will. They would build us a brand new house on that hill. First they had to burn it down, the old building that stood up there. I don't remember much about it now, but the rooms were stained and bare. The fire smoldered for 7 days till everything had turned to ash. The lost souls that dwelled in there were sowed in the grass. You can tear it down what man hath built. You can set it all on fire. You can whisper words with your lips, but they'll hear your desires. You can dig the hole and stack your stones with your own bare hands, but you'll never make a house your home if you build on bad land. The first signs of trouble there were sunrise, Christmas Day. Shadows moving up the hallway stairs, they cover up and pray. Must have made it to my brother first. His room was closer than mine. After that, he was whipping me all of the time. Something in there had its sights on me, and already had a hold of him. 10 years old, my only dream were images of sin. His daddy woke me every morning, throwing cold water on my face. The day I looked down my barrel at him, the water felt like flames. You can tear it down what man hath built, you can set it all on fire, you can whisper words with your lips, but they'll hear your desire. You can dig the hole and stack your stones with your own bare hand, but you'll never make a house your home if you build on bad land. No, you'll never make a house your home if you build on bad land. This is called I've Got a Lot on What's Left of My Mind. Kind of a country flavored song. I had a great conversation with the late great Kim Williams a long time ago on New Year's Eve last year that he was with us, and I showed him a song I was writing, and my song had 2 hooks in it. And as if songwriters know, a hook is kind of what you build the song around, at least in the country format. And Kim said, "Hey man, you got 2 hooks there. You know, you need to make 2 songs out of that." I was like, okay. So I wrote that down, and this line was my other line that I needed to get out of the other song. And I've had that in my pocket now for a while, and it turned into a pretty neat little song. Friend of mine saw you out last night, burning the roads with your new flame. It's been a while since I placed you in my life, with too much beer and cocaine. And I've got a lot on what's left of my mind. Another glass full of memories goes down easy while I'm biding my time. Well, I break through before you break me, before you break me. But tonight I have thoughts to shake, and I've been driving with no lights. Does it really matter to you anyway if I don't stay between the lines? And I've got a lot on what's left of my mind. Another glass full of memories goes down easy while I'm biding my time. Well, I break through before you break me, before you break me. Am I killing time, or is it killing me? Maybe those dotted lines will finally set me free. And I've got a lot on what's left of my mind.
He's from Kingsport, Tennessee. And you started playing guitar at 14 years old. And so why the guitar?
You know, I think I was just fascinated. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 71, so I came up in the era of the, like, you know, Van Halen and that kind of stuff, Dokken, and I was just fascinated by it. My grandmother bought me a classical guitar when I was just a kid, and it just kind of sat around all the time. And I think I learned to play Michael, Row Your Boat Ashore, and I just wanted more than that.
Anyone in your family play instruments?
No.
You said in your bio on your website that your mother had a record collection.
Oh yeah.
And you listened to Bob Seger, Elton John, Eagles, Elvis, Beatles, Commodores. Why did you like this artist so much?
Well, you know, my memories of all that, you know, back in those days, we didn't have CDs or cassettes, really, I guess, at the first part. I remember the artwork, the album art, and some fascinating pieces you might remember. Remember Nazareth, Hair of the Dog?
Oh, yeah.
And Elton John, what was that called? Brown Dirt Cowboy or something like that. It's like a fold-out album, and it had this Space City in there. I remember my mom was a neat freak, and she would clean house all weekend, every weekend. She would always open up all the windows, and the air would come through. And you know, video games weren't something we had back then, and TV wasn't much of an option either. So I would just kind of lay on the floor next to that giant stereo cabinet and just look through the records and play them. And I did that for years. I did it for a long time, and I still remember some of that.
And you soon formed in high school some garage bands.
Yeah, I guess I did. I was around something like that.
Did you know then that you want to do it professionally, or maybe try to make it as a career?
No, honestly, when I was trying to do that back then, I would have never believed, first of all, that I would ever sing in front of people, because I was scared to death in front of people. And you know, back in high school, I had looking at me now, believe it or not, I had Bon Jovi hair in high school. And I had the whole look going, but I just couldn't stand in front of people and do it. You know, I tried a few times, and it just didn't work out very well for me. But and you know, obviously, I'm still not a professional making a living at it, but it's a huge passion of mine now.
And for you, when you first started out, what was the biggest obstacle playing at local venues?
For me, I guess it was just breaking through the fear of being in front of people, I guess, and maybe them not liking what I was doing. I still remember, I can remember a night. It's one of my very first times playing and singing in front of people. It wasn't the very first time, but I used to be a partner in a place called the Bus Pit in downtown Kingsport a long time ago, and we had an open mic, and me and my buddies got together, and we had garage doors on the building, and there was, you know, people outside, you know, doing their smoking on the sidewalks and all that. And I can remember getting up there, and I started playing a song, and my hands were like this. I could barely even hang on to my pick. And I remember starting the song, and a lot of those people out there were friends of mine, and I remember watching them all just scurry back inside, you know, because they really did want to see me, you know, and I, you know, looking back, I probably really stunk back then, terribly, but it was kind of addictive, per se, and that was before I even formed. Well, that was the very beginning of the creation of what would become 100 Acres.
on your website, in your bio section, you say that 20 years of songwriting, you kind of kept it a secret.
Yeah.
So why did you not want people to hear your music?
I don't know. I can't even answer that. I guess because I never thought of myself as a singer or a performer. I just love playing, you know. And it really wasn't until what I call the Great Recession that I kind of embraced it. You know, you probably read on that bio that I was at the time I was a restaurateur. I was a partner in the old Kingsport Grocery Company and Bonfire Smokehouse downtown and the Bus Pit. And that recession really put its foot on us, you know. It stomped the life out of everybody. And I guess it wasn't until I realized that I was getting ready to fall out all that I didn't really have a guard anymore.
And that's when you formed that's when 100 Acres began.
I'll grab something. I want to show you something. You just stay right there. This old guitar out here. This is the guitar that 100 Acres was built around. And my daddy gave me this guitar. He never really played guitar, but he had gotten it from a fellow named Ed Wolf, who was a pretty locally well-known bluegrass guy, and also a wrestler, professional wrestler, and a police officer. And when I was a kid, Dad gave me this, and it had a hole in it right here. And it didn't play. It wasn't really playable. But my whole life, as I traveled around the country, I always used it as a decoration on the wall, right? And when I realized that I was going to lose that farm that I lived on during the recession, I remember looking up at the wall one day and I saw this guitar up there just doing its thing, you know, decorating my wall. And I thought, you know what? I'm getting ready to lose a bunch of stuff in my life. This might be a good time to make this guitar into something. And I took the guitar and my last, I don't know, $300 or $400, and I took it down to a fantastic musician and also a fantastic guy, period, Travis Christian, down in Real Music. And I asked him to build this thing for me. And he put it back together for me. And I played this thing nonstop for, I don't know, several years after that. For the 100 Acres sound kind of needs it. And so this kind of started all that, I guess. And it kind of helped me break out of my, I don't know, I guess I was stuck in the working world a little bit too much. You know, anybody out there that's ever been in the restaurant business knows you kind of live it. You don't just go to work and come home. You kind of live it, and every day it's all day, all night in your head. So, you know, it was a big crash in life, but it was also probably my biggest awakening in life. Definitely my musical awakening.
Is 100 Acres still around, or done hiatus, or?
They're absolutely around.
Haven't heard anything about it from them.
I know. We've had some little talking going on in the background lately. 100 Acres, I like to say that we've never been a jealous band. And we've had a couple of position changes in 100 Acres over the years. But everybody in 100 Acres has always been welcome to go out and do other projects without any problems. Full support from everybody. And all the members of 100 Acres have done stuff. And you know, me right now, I'm kind of working on my songwriter thing again. I'm trying to get a full show beefed back up again. And also, I took off and worked on the Real Life Heavies for 3 years, and that was a lot of fun. And we still have that together too.
Mm-hmm. And what's the difference in the sound between Real Life Heavies and the 100 Acres?
It's exact opposite. 100 Acres is kind of like a full band version of my singer-songwriter side, I guess, with a little more honky-tonk in it.
Okay.
I'd say, because I've got everybody in Facebook land in this part of the area knows about Quentin Horton, one of the best guitar players you'll ever see. Quentin is lead guitar player for 100 Acres, and he plays a homemade Telecaster. It's got Nashville twang all over it. And of course, Brian Seiler on drums, Johnny Razor on bass, Matthew Oakes on mandolin. And when we put together 100 Acres, Matthew didn't play mandolin. He played guitar. But all of a sudden we had too many guitars, and he borrowed his dad's guitar. So that's why Matthew doesn't play mandolin like anybody else. He's never been trained to play mandolin bluegrass style. He plays it 100 Acres style.
Okay.
And it's a 3-part harmony all the time. Of course, we have our brother Randy Broyles, the Crooked Man, who's part of 100 Acres as well. He comes when he can, and he's like our secret weapon. Later on, after we had recorded, we recorded 200 Acres records, and then Quentin asked me, or told me, that I needed to go out and do what he did, which was, spend some time in Nashville, spend some time on the road, and figure out who I am as a writer and as a musician. And it's kind of been my mentor for a long time. And I did that, and when I came back, I was kind of itching to be a better guitar player and a better front man. And so I went back to my drummer and bass player, the same ones, Brian and Johnny, and I said, hey, I want to put together something, a 3-piece thing for a little while, and try some stuff that 100 Acres doesn't do. And Real Life Heavies came of that, and as you probably know, we wear black business suits, and we're kind of flavored like an 80s rock meets blues kind of thing, I guess, with a lot of soul and kind of a rhythm and blues kind of flavor. We have a dang good time with it. It's been a lot of fun. And it's still there, I'm the guy that's kind of ADD when it comes to music, though. The great thing is I've got some of the finest musicians I've ever met, ready to answer my call and play either show.
That's great.
It's the same guys.
And where might some fans find some Jeff Lane music? Is it out on iTunes or?
It's everywhere. I have a website called jefflanesongwriter.com, and there's links to my YouTube there, CD Baby, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. I've had quite a bit of stuff on Spotify lately, which is a controversial topic, I know. But I'm kind of into the digital world, and I've kind of realized that, they have us in the digital world right now. So to do what I can.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you. This is a song about my grandmother's last few months on Earth. Last year she was 92, and I spent a lot of time going to a nursing home, seeing her in the mornings. She ended up in a place here in Kingsport after she had broken her hip. It was supposed to be for rehab, but it didn't work out that way. But the first day she was in there, she asked me if I'd bring her some coffee with vanilla creamer in it. And that's what I like to drink in the mornings too. I thought, of course I will. So I went there in the morning, brought her a coffee, and to make the story very short, you can't stop bringing your grandma coffee in the mornings when she wants it. So about a year and a half later, and after seeing a whole lot of things that happen in life to someone who's finishing out their days in a place like that, I started realizing that it's kind of the grand design, I think, of humans, people, and that they start letting go of people they remember. and they start losing their sight. Some people lose their hearing, whatever. But that's how they cope, I think. That's how people let go of each other. And, anyway, the song I wrote, influenced by my grandmother. It's called Moving On. They say I've had a real good life, with family and friends. I can't remember them now, but I feel their hands. Those spoken words I don't hear well anymore. Time is louder than ever before. As I roll around so slow, with nowhere to go, I know this place ain't my home. Soon I'll be moving on. I'll be moving on. All of us out here in this long white hall, with broken down bones, we must seem so small. Behind these cloudy eyes and this drawn up face, it's the man I used to be. From a better place. Now outside room 304, away by the golden door that doesn't touch the floor. Soon I'll be moving on. Moving on.
against the wind. I should have told her then. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know where to begin. September is calling, and it's coming up fast. I'm still falling for the rising sun that never seemed to last. Oh well, it never seemed to last. Whoa, now I'm wishing I went a different way, and I'm missing things she used to say, reminiscing every single day while I'm listening to the songs we used to play. Listening to the songs we used to play, fading to the darkest shade of gray, the darkest shade of gray.